Hey, this is Pops, and welcome. More Saturday morning cartoon talk, Batman animated series, not one, two episodes this week. So, hope you enjoy that. I'm loving the rewatch with you guys. Please make sure you check out. There's a playlist down below. If you haven't done it, you could throw those on and just go through all the different episodes that we've talked about. I can't thank you guys enough. The Saturday morning cartoons together, X-Men and Batman together, and a couple of the other YouTuber clips, things like that. We've already crossed over like 2,500 views total, which is, I mean, this is crazy. I'm so excited you guys want to do that. And yeah, sure, some videos may only have a few views, some have, hundreds. I don't know, but I'm having a good time. I hope you guys are too. Again, stay to the end. Actually, in the middle, let's stick some cards. Let's stick some commercials. Make you feel that whole retro experiences. I'm enjoying that as well. So these two episodes are not ones that you're going to think about as being like the cream of the crop or the biggest ones that you're going to remember maybe as a best of list. But at the same time, I think both episodes, the Underdwellers and the Night of the Ninja, have elements that really, again, alternate universe Batman, expand the lore of Batman, add to the mythos of Batman, elevate characters, and I think that's what this show did so well. And it's still shocking to believe we are in now episode 27, 28. Still no Riddler, no ventriloquist. We've only had Harley Quinn once. Well, it's like kind of like a little off experience. Like I guess yeah, only once, only one little intro episode. We really haven't had some of the stuff that really people think about when you think about Batman. So this episode is a very grounded episode. Underdwellers is a very grounded episode where it's about two kids. They're playing chicken, right? They're just there goofing off playing chicken. There's a tunnel coming up. One of them gets their foot caught, right? Because the other one panics. And then of course Batman shows up at the last minute and saves him. And here's the funny part about that line. I love the fact that he says, you play chicken long enough, you fry. And I kind of laughed. I don't know why that struck me so much as being funny, but it actually did. And then you basically end up with this mystery that surrounds this little boy in a green cloak. And I guess there's a lot of leprechaun jokes, but there's like the underdwellers are these kids, and they're in this area where they're being put to work like slave labor, an underground district where the theater district is, where they're sewing clothes, they're farming, they're stealing clothes, stealing items, things like that. That's what's happening. Um, and you do get, by the way, you get great back and forth with Bruce and Alfred. I'll try to remember to circle back to that because, by the way, there is some funny lines there. But I also think that it sets up a interesting villain concept because it's something very, very grounded and realistic in the Batman universe where, the mental disorder of the villains, the rogue gallery villains, the Riddler, Joker, Penguin, whatever, that always want to face off against Batman are one thing. But the regular people wouldn't want to be dealing with Batman. Like he's supernatural. He's extraordinary. You have no skill set to be able to combat yourself. So the sewer king, who's created this little mini kingdom, right, of these kids that he's abusing, children should be seen and not heard, right? And the punishment that he puts on this boy who gets hurt and he cries out. And they do like a struggle session with this kid about, I think you need to see the light, right? And Batman is kind of on the case. Like Batman's trying to figure this out. And by the way, we get a really cool shot. And I love when they do this because they do bring in like Batman tech, right? We had the bat signal recently. We just added to this Batman universe, right? Here we get like a scanner where it's like a visor he pops down. He can see the wall, the secret passage. He doesn't have to search. No, Batman's way leveled up on all that kind of stuff, right? And I will say he sets off like tin cans on the ground, which I thought was kind of silly. Like I don't get to complain much about this show. I have to admit, the dude that has the scanner visor 2 seconds ago wouldn't walk into the tin cans. I'm just saying. There could have been a different way to set that alarm off, by the way. Anyway, so we get the boy is running, and of course he ends up on the tracks. Batman saves him again, and then so like back to the Bat Cave, and that's when you have the boy versus Alfred stuff, which really kicks into high gear. Because early in the episode, we had some jokes about Batman heading out, doing things. There's jokes about going on a vacation and playing golf, and Bruce is like, what? That'd be boring, boring in the Bahamas. Oh, that'd be hot and boring, right? No, this is a job for Batman. And then here, Batman has this kid. He's still trying to solve and deal with the thing. And poor Alfred is left dealing with this kid. This kid is not playing. The scene it becomes almost absurd, right? He won't get out of bed, won't take a bath. He's carrying on. And by the way, it is kind of funny in the sense that there's a scene where Batman's in the cave, but you see there's a monitor, like a secret, like a closed circuit camera, and you see Alfred and Frog. The kid's nickname is Frog, and they're fighting in the background, which I thought was kind of funny. Now, upstairs, the boy does ultimately grab a gun, like a musket looking gun, and Batman, not Bruce, Batman is there. Guns and kids don't mix. Right. That was interesting. We introduced some of those kinds of things. And then later, as we kind of move through the whole situation, we get to the Sewer King, and he has pet alligators in the sewer, of course. And he fights them off because there's like this bell, right? This ringing of the bell is how the Sewer King got all the kids to come together for the struggle session. Batman's there as well. He's ringing the bell, luring them all together. And the Sewer King is just sort of kind of like a silly, cliched abuser of children, authoritarian of the lessers, right? And the alligator stuff is like they're obedient to him, right? It's feeding time, my pretties. So those kinds of things are there. And it's all okay. I mean, I didn't have any problem with any of that. I will say that I thought that an episode like this really does kind of work well to set up the sympathy and empathy that Batman and Bruce would have for children, right? Saving children that's gotten lost in sort of the Batman lore, how interested they are in helping Gotham, not just as Batman, but the core of Batman, the culture of Batman, the environment, the helping the children. All those different elements I think are great. And I'm glad this is an episode that we did that with. So before I move on, let's take a quick break.
We'll return after these messages.
Now be polite when you meet Mrs. Vanderlug and do as you're told.
Mrs. Vanderlug?
It's time to have some fun.
Come on, duck it, shooters, and have a ball. Let's do everything. Do as you're told. Let's jump that way. Jump it, go. Play one more. Duck it, shooters.
Did you mind Mrs. Vanderlug?
They did everything they were told.
Where a kid can be the kid.
Harley-Davidson, the great American motorcycle. Now, great Harley-Davidson, the stunt-action bikes from Matchbox. Tricks and turns, wild wheelies. These Harleys don't know when to quit. The Harley-Davidson stunt-action bike from Matchbox. Each sold separately.
Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. Isn't it fun watching old cartoons and old commercials? I don't know. Saturday morning, it was so cool. I lost Saturday. It was actually, I thought about it this morning. I actually was thinking about how much it was mornings before school. It was after school, but Saturday morning cartoons was like a marathon. It was so good. So the second episode I want to kind of merge with this was called Night of the Ninja. Night of the Ninja is episode 28. And here you have a ninja. Ninja just shows up, right? But what we do get is we do a couple of things very interesting in this episode. We get through flashbacks with the ninja and recognizing different elements. We have a flashback sequence that gives us some of Bruce's training. How did he become who he is? Like we know Bruce disappears and goes off after the death of his parents. He comes back as Batman, right? And then you have Dick Grayson, who we really haven't had very much with. We haven't really got Robin much, but here we're going to get a little bit of that, and we do level him up a lot, which I think is very important as we move forward, right? Because you see Bruce and Dick, they're sparring to one another in the wake of this ninja attack, which is on another Wayne Industry business. This was a cosmetic company, and there's a ninja star left behind, and the star is something that kind of gets Bruce to flash back, right? Now, I will admit, another reason why I put these two episodes together is because there are things that this doesn't do well. Like, for instance, there's this joke about it being like the sixth robbery, and Bruce makes a comment about being the seventh. And they do this thing with Bruce, like doing this whole little, stick out your tongue. Like, and I'm like, don't do that. That's not for this show. Don't do that in this show. Maybe I'm being a little overly critical. I think that's fine if you think I am. I didn't like that. I thought that it doesn't fit the tone of the show and their relationships and their dynamics. What they're going for is that Bruce needs to respect Dick more, respect him, and let him be Robin and do those kinds of things, which is where they're going to end up. I just didn't think they needed that scene. Now, we get Kwai Dai Ken, and he is this martial artist that was training when Bruce was also a student, and he was superior to Bruce in every way. There's a joke as he wins a hand-to-hand combat. Not bad for a rich guy's son, that kind of thing, right? And the sensei is like, well, there's always somebody better, right? But we see this tattoo on his back, and we have this constant reminder of the conflict and them going back and forth, right? I will say they don't do a really good job of this, actually. I thought it was a little bit like you have to really pay attention to some of the details with Summer Gleason, who plays this reporter in Gotham City. And she's reporting about all these robberies, but then there's also this talking about buildings have been burned down. It's actually a much bigger targeted sort of like terrorist attack that the ninja is bringing on Bruce and Wayne Enterprises, right? Now, he also goes out in the Batmobile by himself, leaving Dick behind. He doesn't want to take Robin out. And he says, not this time, right? And there's comments about him not wanting to share his feelings, whatever, but the fact that he's keeping him away is what has to change, right? And that it is sort of the thing where you have all these life lessons that Bruce has had to endure, right? He's going through this training with this sensei. It's about how everyone has to lose from time again. It's really through the defeats that where we find more of our instruction. We learn more from failure than we do just blindly succeeding, right? And here's where we start to see the ninja versus Batman. You see them sort of like start to fight, but what ends up happening is the ninja actually resorts to using like a gas pellet gun, right? And it's Robin who had trailed him, and he shows up just in time to save him, right? And when there's an escape, you see the costume, the ninja is split open, and you see that tattoo, right? And there's a joke about saving my bacon, Robin, which I thought was pretty good, right? Robin here mocking that way because Bruce doesn't say anything, Batman doesn't say anything. Robin's like, yeah, thanks for saying that part actually works. That mocking, that silliness works for the characters, whereas the other thing did not, in my opinion, right? And here you start to get into more detail, and you start to have more stuff flushed out before we get to they have to actually have a face off, and you have to learn how to deal with that, right? And Bruce has to deal with the fact that he is worried that he can't win. He's worried that Koi Dai will win. He's worried that he can't do it. So whenever this happened, they flash back again to him trying to steal an old sword and the conflict and how this ultimately brought dishonor, and he was kicked out of the dojo as well. And that was when he vowed to hit revenge, and that's what this is really all about, right? And here you have them hit. Bruce actually gets attacked, right? Because now Bruce is there with the reporter, and she's trying to get a scoop, and he targets them. And then you have to have Robin, who shows up on the bat cycle, and that's what's actually going to happen and save the day. And I like how I like how it ends, because you have to see how do they manage to pull this off in a way that keeps Bruce's identity from Batman's secret. And once he wins, he knows he can now win no matter what. So it kind of sets aside the past, and they kind of move on with that. So, and I will say that it ends really, really strongly with him thanking Dick. I thank you for your help, which shows that relationship is also moving on. So these are episodes that are not necessarily the top tier episodes, but they also fit the lore. They fit the legacy of the characters. They're growing the legacy and moving them forward, which is what you want to see. The show is extraordinary. I'm so impressed with all of it, even with all my little critiques or comments. Know that this is still just top tier stuff. So with that, that's Saturday morning cartoons. Hopefully you're having fun. Tell me about your rewatch experiences. Tell me what other thoughts that you might have. Hopefully you'll enjoy some more cartoons and more commercials and those kinds of things. We have this experience. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for watching. I am Pops.
This is Wise Guy. I'm frequency jamming, so listen quick. Before you know who shuts me down. You want to be a wise guy? Well, you gotta know this. Quiz whiz. Very cool questions and very hot answers that they don't want you to know. Like Madonna's movies, Moses Malone's paycheck, what's Prince's real name? Stuff like that. Answer the right answer. Yeah. Play with friends, play it alone. You got a quiz whiz to be a wise guy.
Quiz comes with 1,001 questions. Over 20 other books and cartridges sold separately. Batteries not included.
Wake up all you sleepyheads, Colgate gets you out of bed. Now there's the Colgate pump, we've got the Colgate pump. It's a neat new trick, you know, pump it on your brush and go. They got the Colgate pump, she's got the Colgate pump. Even moms and dads agree what makes it good is MSP. Just a spurt of minty gel protects your teeth that you can tell. We've got the Colgate pump, we love the Colgate pump.
Two great tastes, maximum fluoride protection at your fingertips.
The news today, kids all over America are going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, the big chocolatey puffs that go crunch. The crunchy part of this complete breakfast. In the public library, Matthew Murphy crunched into those big chocolatey puffs.
I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Just in from Alaska, Eskimo Ed is about to crunch. Its igloo is a disaster area, and that's the way it is with Cocoa Puffs, the big chocolatey puffs that go crunch. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Lucky's hiding down one of his colorful roads with his delicious Lucky Charms.
Which road? Hearts, stars, moons, clovers, diamonds, horseshoes? Lucky, we need a clue.
Just take the road of the charm that grows.
Grows? Green clovers grow. Let's go! Yikes! Got 'em! Love these marshmallowy Lucky Charms. Part of this complete breakfast.
Smart kids. I'll send you a real 4-leaf clover charm with your name on it free with 2 proofs of purchase.